All right, let's go. So yeah, man, this is super duper different to me to be streaming this. This is also a completely different level. What the hell is this? If I poke that, it looks like a squirted out chemical. That's neat. This is bouncy chemical. All right, and then green is very bouncy chemical. Okay. You know, what the hell is going on? What in the hell is going on? This is awesome. There's new mechanics, there's like old school feel and stuff like that. Like, wow. This is really, really cool. Anyway, one thing I wanted to make sure that I definitely talked about before I forget to is I wanted to talk about a particularly nerdy topic, sound cards. Namely, why did the NES sound like the NES? And why did the Sega Genesis sound like the Sega Genesis? Okay, that's actually mostly a question of the hardware that was used. So the NES sound card was a lot easier to compose on than the Sega Genesis sound card, which is why outside of Sonic the Hedgehog games, most Sega Genesis music is absolute trash, just a shit heap of music. Whereas, like on the NES, even like kind of a relatively mundane game will have pretty passable music. Here, okay, that went poorly instantly. Anyway, oh man, I hope I get another chance. Because I just lost out on the Chaos Emerald. That sucks. Oh well. Anyway, I actually know a fair bit about how like the sound cards work. So the NES is really fascinating because it uses what's called pulse width modulation, where basically the NES can only legitimately produce one kind of default sound, and then it just does like some modulation of the volume itself to like play out the, I guess we'll go up, to play out the actual sound that you want, and that's the way that they synthesized all their music. And pulse width modulation is a pretty straightforward and easy way to synthesize cool sounds, but it also is very limited in that it can produce mostly like NES sounds. Like it mostly produce really good bleeps and blorps. Now, we all love our bleeps and blorps or whatever, but what the Sega Genesis used instead was called FM modulation, and FM is very, very different from the pulse width, which is like super duper straightforward. FM modulation is the way that FM radio works. So you have to synthesize all of your sounds the same way that FM radio works. And that is notoriously difficult to do. When I write my music, I tend to use FM sound synthesis, but I will not pretend that it's easy. So the way that FM sound synthesis works is you take two sine waves and you play them at the same time, and the difference between them, if you vary the frequency, which is what FM is short for, frequency modulation, if you vary the frequency differences between the two sine waves, you get different sounds. And that's like the most abstract and weirdest way to think about like creating a sound effect. Because usually you just think in terms of like, what is this going to sound like? But in FM synthesis, you don't have that like connection at all to what you're doing. So it's just like, this needs to sound like I'm going to take I don't know, like two sounds, and they're going to be pitched at a frequency of like 1 to 2 or something. And then that produces a like brrrt sound. And then you have to make like brrrt sound really cool. And nobody can do that. Certainly not back in the day. which is why Sonic sounds good, and only Sonic sounded good. Oh, you won't let me collect the rings? That's super lame. And I got a silver medal for it. I did the level perfectly. What more does it want? I guess I need to do it perfectly and in the right order? That's just hella mean. Anyway, why, all that being said, why the hell would they use FM as their sound chip? It's really cheap. You save a lot of money using an FM sound chip. The downside, so on the plus side, FM sounds really cool. FM, like, if you think about it, like, if you listen to FM radio sounds great. And that's because FM sound synthesis works really, really well. It's just incredibly difficult to do. And, like, the skill gap was just so prohibitive that people weren't able to make it just sound good. So, that's all there is to say about it, except for one other funny little point. And this one might blow your mind a little bit. The Sega Genesis could only play one sound at a time. That means, like, I'm not even joking, it could only play one sound effect at any given point. What it did, to trick you into thinking that it was playing multiple sounds, was it changed between them really, 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 really fast. So, the way it would work is, it would, it would, like, play, like, one tiny frame of a drum beat sound effect, and then switch to, like, a guitar, and then it just did it like that over and over again, until it tricked your mind into thinking that multiple sounds were playing at any given time. Now, this, you know, this works, but, like, if you listen really, really carefully, you can actually tell that nothing in any Sega Genesis game, no sound effects are actually playing at the same time as the music. True story. Alright, so that's a really, really weird segment to try and do perfectly. I don't think I actually did it correctly, but, that's... Oh, fuck you, game. Oh. Well, I tried. That's so hard! God, the bonus stage is so difficult. I don't even... That's fine, whatever. Oh, another fun point just to think about. So, I don't know if anyone remembers this. There were rumors back in the day that a certain king of pop, we'll say, composed music for Sonic games. Now, this is very interesting to me. That sucks. I wasn't able to get let go there. Now, this is very interesting to me because I happen to be a fan of Mr. MJ, the smooth criminal himself there, the Moonwalker extraordinaire. Now, there were rumors that he did the music for Sonic 3, and if you're my age, you heard those rumors, and you were probably like, no way. But you probably thought it was cool as hell, because hey, if you actually listen to it, you can hear like a lot of Michael Jordan, not, a lot of Michael Jackson influence in it. And what I found out, I read into this a little bit. There was an article published super duper recently. You can read it. It's probably worth reading. Turns out that rumor is true. So, Michael Jackson went to the Sega headquarters after the production of the video game Moonwalker, and he said like he was like so happy with the job that the Sega people did bringing this video game to life and having him star with it that he wanted to go meet the creators directly. So he did. And while they were there, he was like, hey, can I check out like your projects or whatever, see what you're working on? And they were like, yeah, sure, we're working on this. It's Sonic. And apparently Michael Jackson like went in with the sound people and the composers and the musicians and talked to them And apparently there were a couple of demos made that did make it into the final game. So they didn't take all of the. They didn't take everything that he wrote. What he did was he would write a little theme here and there, and then the musicians would come along later and turn it into the final products. And apparently they had to get rid of... They were going to go public about it, but then Michael Jackson ended up being embroiled in a couple of scandals or two. I don't know if you heard about that happening. But he ended up being a bit of a controversial figure in the mid-90s. So what happened was they had to scrap it all. But apparently, according to one of the developers... Oh, hi. Oh, my God. What the hell? I'm awful at Tetris. Is this match 3 or is this Tetris? I don't even know. Oh crap! I screwed it up. Uh-oh. I have to play this with the. I have to actually play this with the D-pad because I don't think I can move accurately enough to play this with the joystick. No, this is damn nuts. I don't know if people know this. There is a actual game on the Sega Genesis where you, like, this is it. My mind is blown right now. I haven't thought of this game in ages, but like, this is actually just a remake of a game that I don't even remember what it's called. I played it once, and I guess it's like they ported this. Well, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to match groups of 4 or greater. And I remember this being a very, very fun game. And I remember playing it all of exactly 1 times because I did not own this game. But yeah, there were so many. This was during the era of like spin-off games. This is a mascot game. Puyo Puyo, apparently, is what this is. Anyway, whatever. This is mascot video game era. This is old school stuff. So back then, you wanted to put your characters on every single spin-off game you could think of. Puyo, I don't know, whatever. So yeah, Sega releases Dr. Mario, which is a Mario brand theme of Tetris, and then Sonic, not to be outdone, or Sega, I should say. They release that game, which I don't remember what it's called, but what you're supposed to do, this is actually completely new. This is not like any Sonic level I've ever seen before. Anyway, wow. It's hard to commentate over this game because it has a very, very good way of completely disrupting all of my thoughts. Okay, we want to go up here. There we go. So yeah, so the Sega releases that game, whatever it's called, to compete with Dr. Mario. And then what I really remember of the Sonic spin-offs, if we're gonna really get into it here, we gotta talk about Sonic Pinball. So Sonic Pinball was oh, what the hell is going on? Sonic Pinball is a pinball game that was released for the Sega Genesis, and you play as Sonic, and it is really, really, really bad. So the physics in it are horrendous, but if you can guess who the pinball is, it's Sonic. So it's a platformer mixed with a pinball game, which almost sounds badass, except the platforming was horrendous and the pinball was also horrendous. For example, you had to fight bosses in this game, and to do that, you had to direct Sonic into the boss and hit the boss with the flippers. Now, that seems easy enough, but the game has like all your kind of typical pinball things where it has little arrows everywhere that says like, hey, if you follow this trajectory, you'll go into like this little loop-de-doop or whatever it is you need to do, or you'll hit the boss or whatever. So the levels are littered with this stuff, and they're all lies. So it's a pinball game where if you try to believe what the pinball machine is telling you, you will not be able to beat the game, because the level design, the Sonic, the physics are so bad that you can't actually control Sonic in the way that the game suggests that you can. It's a disaster. But I digress. It's really fun to watch speedruns of it. But when I saw it as a kid, I thought it was so cool. Because I saw it and I was like, it's a pinball game where you have to fight like this boss monster. And I thought that the boss monster was cool because you had to kill like this weird, I don't know, you had to kill like Dr. Robotnik, except he was a scorpion and it looked really, really cool. I never owned it, thank God. I just watched a friend of mine play it and it activated my imagination like none other. Little memories like that are actually why I want to make video games. Not so that I can foster the creation of them in our youth or bring delightful joy to a child's life. No, I mostly just want to recreate the things that sucked from when I was a kid and do them better. That's pretty much it. It's weird to play these stages all over again. Because I recognize them. I remember these so vividly. I remember the levels too. But I'm talking like specifically beyond the amount of things that I remember about like the actual Sonic the Hedgehog levels. I remember these bonus stages. Like I remember exactly what the layouts are because I played them so damn much because I needed to play them because I was trying to practice at them. Like what I would do. Oh yeah, remember how earlier I was saying that you can end up in situations where you have no idea where the blue spheres are and you just end up wasting a ton of time because you're trying to find them? Welcome to hell. Yep, I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going right now. I remember these stages so vividly because what I would do is I would play them and try to like get all of them and get the Chaos Emeralds, and I'd be like, I'm not gonna be happy playing this game unless I can play through it as like Super Saiyan Sonic, and I have no idea where to go. I'm just eating it. I'm not gonna just spend like a million years looking for that shit. But yeah, like I would just replay the levels, and if I ended up getting to the end of the level and I didn't have all the Chaos Emeralds, then I would just give up and I would restart the game. Because playing through a Sonic the Hedgehog game and not playing through it as Super Saiyan Sonic, there's no point. It's like, that's like, I mean, why even bother? Oh. I screwed up there. What does this say? To be this good takes Sega. Oh my god. It takes ages? What? Is that like a joke? Is that like an old advertising campaign for Sega or something? Because I don't have any clue what that means. I feel like that must have been a ad campaign that they're paying homage to. But, oh. Okay. This is different. Well, let's get one more Chaos Emerald in here. And, it switches from ages to Sega. It does. I guess you're supposed to just, take it all for what it's worth. I don't know. Wow, Sonic can jump really, really high in these bonus levels here. I remember, though, you know, as bad as the sphere collecting levels were for collecting the Chaos Emeralds, it can be much worse. Oh, can it be worse? The original Chaos Emerald bonuses from Sonic 1 were nightmare trippy bullshit. So in Sonic 1, you had to play as Sonic in a, not really a platformer, but like in this weird world where you didn't control Sonic, you controlled the level, And what it was it had gravity, but you could rotate the level around. So what you were supposed to do was you were supposed to use the force of gravity to pull Sonic wherever you wanted him to go. And you did this purely by just rotating the level over and over again. I might actually lose this mini game here because I'm not collecting any rings. Okay, I got a couple there. And I'm gonna get a couple more here, and I have 5 seconds, and give me some more. 10, 9. I have to catch up with the boss man, but I don't see him, and I do not have enough rings to pull this off, most likely. Shit, take me over there, take me over there. I'm too fast. I'm too fast to turn in time to collect those rings. Well, it was a good attempt anyway. Oh well. Super Monkey Ball Sonic. Yes, it was exactly like that. Yes, it was horrible. Bad memories of that one. Anyway, I'm probably gonna head out here, but I hope you're enjoying this little trip down memory lane with me as we veg out on some good old-fashioned Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, we'll keep playing more of this. I don't even care if this gets views on YouTube or not. I know it won't, most likely, because everybody and their mother is currently playing this game. But damn it, I'm having a very fun time. Alrighty, take care, guys.